Write yourself all you want. Thank you for that. Just so you guys know, there are two videos here, so try not to stand in front of this one.
You're standing in front of it.
So
try not to do anything.
Oh, answer it.
I will.
Actually, I'm going to do, hold on.
So hey guys, good luck. Don't do anything stupid. No mess.
That's like 10 words.
Don't write that in the question. No, don't worry, I won't. No.
Gabe, is that one going?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are free to start.
Okay.
So we are Glow, and we are a candle company, and we independently manufacture and sell here in Seattle, Washington. So we're very local. We chose the name Glow for our products because we wanted to show the name through the look and feel that a candle gives off. And we chose the spelling and the slashes because it's the phonetic pronunciation of the word G-L-O-W, and we thought that it kind of had a cool modern look. Fuel your flame is our slogan, and we chose it because we felt like it was peppy, energetic, passionate, fun, and enthusiastic. And through our market surveys, we learned that it kind of reminded people of like an energy drink, and we kind of want our candles to like give them energy. This is our visual library, and it's marketed towards 20 to 30-year-olds that like nature, and we use our packaging to evoke like a nostalgic feel of childhood with stack lunches, and we use solar panels and nature, and that's basically the work that we do.
Alright, so our market was geared towards hip 20 to mid 30-year-olds, and we chose this market because we believe that there wasn't yet really a candle available that would adhere to this market. So we conducted many surveys, and 80% of them, of those we surveyed, said a candle with a colored flame sounded pretty nice. So this led us to explore with other ways of coloring our flame. So our surveys also showed that this market was also more likely to buy a product that was made from more eco-friendly materials.
So if you look here, these are our competitors' prices. They all have standard prices for when they sell scented tea candles. And ours are a bit higher than our competitors, but it is for a good reason. So the thing that we bring to the table is that we promote and use local ingredients, and as most people know, small business and local ingredients are usually a bit more expensive than brand name and larger company ingredients. We are also a local business ourselves, and we use eco-friendly ingredients, which are also tend to be a bit more expensive. And also, what goes into our candles is very high quality. We chose different types of ingredients instead of choosing the easier routes because we knew it would be not only better for the environment, but it would make a better candle overall.
Okay, so our original design, well, we kept our original design for the brown paper bag. As Sarah said, we wanted to have a brown paper bag to create a nostalgic feel of sack lunches when you're, growing up. And we originally were going to have long, skinny candles, and like David was talking about, we received a lot of feedback from the surveys that said people would buy candles with a different colored flame. So we tried to do that. We did not have the resources or money to complete that, but we had a good start. And when we were doing that, we originally were going to use long, skinny candles and changed to tea candles to help our glowing flame, which we didn't use, but we stuck with the tea candles. And we originally were going to use paraffin wax, but we tested 3 different types of wax, and we ended up using soy wax because it's best.
Right, so over the course of this lab, we had a couple different prototypes. As Emma just mentioned, our original design it was actually made of paraffin wax, and it was more of like a big, longer candle inside of a glass mold. So all of those things, except for paraffin wax, happen to be more expensive. So we switched to a metal mold and a tea candle. because the metal molds are a lot less expensive, but they still retain kind of the same aesthetic appeal as the glass mold. And then we switched to soy wax based on the results of our second lab. Basically, well, there's a number of different reasons why soy wax is better. Mainly, it's that it's a lot more eco-friendly, and we found that our paraffin wax was often very flaky and hard, and it didn't quite have the right aesthetic appeal that we wanted. And based on our market feedback, our market feedback showed that our target market responded very well to the soy wax. So then our third prototype, that was when we kind of did away with the whole colored flame idea. We stopped putting chemicals in our flame, inside our candle, and we started adding fragrances, and we stuck with the metal molds. I'll talk a bit more about those changes. Yes. So basically, again, the reason we did soy wax, it's a bit more expensive than paraffin wax, but the benefits are like a lot more. It's a lot more aesthetically appealing. And then we also tested beeswax, but we found the smell of beeswax to be nice, but it was also more expensive. And when we considered the fact that we were going to be adding fragrances to the candle anyway, it didn't really make sense to choose a candle just because it smelled good when we're going to be making it smell different anyway. If that makes sense. And then again, also soy wax is much more eco-friendly.
So we talked about how we started off with the colored flame idea, and then we kind of scrapped it a little bit. And the main reason why was going into this project, we had an idea in our head about what the candle would be. We were all really excited for it. But after making like prototype after prototype and failure after failure, we knew that like it was okay because we were still making progress, but we knew that also like this project has a time constriction. So we had to kind of scrap our idea. We were running out of chemicals to add to our candles because of how many trials that we were doing. So it was kind of the end for the product. It's still something that we're thinking about doing, but given the time that we had for the product, we had to make a prototype, and that's what drove us away from using the color flame.
Right, and so basically, we made the candles all scented in 3 different scents, and we did this because we kind of discovered just through looking at our competitors that not a lot of tea candles are scented. It's kind of a weird thing, like big candles that are pretty and frilly and like crazy looking, they're generally scented, and then small candles like this, generally just kind of plain and boring. So we thought, well, here's an opportunity to make our candles stand out and be a bit different and appeal more to our consumers. And also just the fragrances that we added really didn't cost that much. It didn't really add a bunch of expense to our candle, and I'll talk about that again in the financial slide. But yeah, basically we chose, and then also when we took our different candles with our different scents to our market surveyed people, they all said that they really liked the scents that we put in, and so we decided to keep going with that since it wasn't really costing us. Right, so our final product is what you see here. Our candle made of soy wax. We did a lab in which we discovered that 3 milliliters of fragrance was the ideal amount to add to each candle. We obviously saw this tea candle here, and we decided that we would sell our candles, our package, which contains 6 candles per pack, between $7.49 and $8.49, depending on location. Then our packaging, obviously, as we talked about, brown paper bag. We've got a couple of different flashcards stapled to it, which talk a little bit about us as a company and our brand promise and stuff. And we've also got a picture of our company logo. And then inside each bag, each candle will be wrapped in tissue paper to give it a more elegant feel. Right, okay, so now the financials. We decided, obviously, to sell our candle between $7.49 and $8.49, depending on location. What I mean by depending on location is that we're going to sell it at a higher price, generally in more affluent neighborhoods, like Madison Park, say. And then at $7.49 more in areas where people generally tend to go shopping in order to buy things find things at the cheapest price available. So like Capitol Hill, for instance. So the cost to manufacture everything inside one package, including candles, molds, and the bag itself, was $6.10. Which means that we make a profit per bag of between $139 and $239, depending on what price we sell it at. And then we also did some calculations to discover how many candles we could make in an hour, and we discovered that basically with the amount of candles we think we can sell per month, our profit for the first month, and maybe the second month as well, will be around $188 to $322, obviously depending again on what prices we sell it at. So we paid each of our members minimum wage, which is $9.32 an hour, which means that per hour we are spending $65.24, which I believe is too much. So basically our company has a plan for the first month or two to temporarily shrink down our company size to reduce the cost of labor while still maintaining how many candles we can make. And so also we did some calculations to discover that the cost to start this company overall, so what you guys would have to spend to get this company going, is $1,500.
Alright, so this is the revenue versus the cost to produce it, and we found that at around $6.25 would be the best price to sell our candle, but since we need to add in the amount of wages that we need to pay our employees, the best, which is around $1.25 per candle, $1.25 per candle, we add that to the $6.25 we have initially would be around $7.49, and that would be for the cheapest candle rather than the $8.49 candle that we possibly sell in Madison Park. So the best profit that we'd have, or the best revenue that we'd have, would be at $6.25, but including the $125 of the money that we can pay our employees, that's what it would be at.
So what's next for Glow? Let's talk a little bit more about the future. Obviously, because you're investing in the future, you want to know a little bit about where we're heading. We've decided to not only broaden our locations, but also broaden the actual product that we're producing and expand on our scents. So we've came up with these little guys, these spherical candles that add a lot in aesthetic appeal. It makes it a little bit more interesting, but we created a couple prototypes, but it needs a little bit more work. Some future thinking that we're doing, as well as bringing back the colored flames. And adding the colored flames to what we've already produced in terms of scented candles and spherical candles in the future, that could create a very, very wanted product. We've also decided to expand on the different types of scents we have. We have bayberry, milk and honey, and jasmine. We're thinking of creating maybe possibly vanilla, cinnamon, or lavender based on future surveys. We'll pass these around.
Oh, also, you guys want to see our...
We can try to guess the scent.
Yeah.
In terms of possible new selling locations, right now we're working around the Seattle area, but we could expand throughout the Northwest to possibly Vancouver or Portland. This could broaden our market and bring in more revenue.
Okay, all right. In keeping with talking about the future, I would now like to discuss how much money you can make as investors if you invest in this company. So we have a couple different, as I mentioned, we have a couple different products that we have some silence? Sorry. We have a couple different ideas for how we can expand our product in the future. Idea number one, spherical candles. As you guys can tell, that should be passed around. Yeah, okay, that's being passed around. We've discovered that the optimum price to set the estimated optimum price to sell that particular candle is $8.99 per package, where there is 4 candles per package. So we'd have them in a package similar to this, if not this exactly, except having 4 candles instead of 6. And that would create an estimated profit per package of $3.15, which is a lot. And we do need a little bit more time to create this, to perfect this idea and to create a working product. but we estimate that we would easily be able to get that happening within a month and put that product on the shelves within a month. Now, idea number 2, our colored flame candles, which was our original idea, but we discovered that we definitely did not have enough time to perfect that process during the month that we had to work on this. But we believe that we will have this product on shelves within 4 months, just based on how much progress we've made in the last couple weeks. How we're going to sell those is we're going to do 6 per package, so very similar to the current tea candles that we have. But we're going to sell them for a lot more because they're pretty crazy. We've all looked at different markets and different companies. It appears that no other company has a product with a flame that burns a different color. So I think, and everyone that we surveyed said they would be very interested in buying a tea candle with a colored flame. And so that's why we believe we can get away with selling these at $9.49 per package, which is an estimated profit of $3.67 per package, which is also a good deal of money.
Sorry guys, before we get going, I didn't introduce our guest back here. Sean, could you introduce yourself real quick?
I'm Sean O'Leary. My son is Eamon O'Leary, a senior here. I'm a business investor in the local community.
And
Gabe, I teach here.
I'm Gia Abbott, Nate's mother.
thank you for coming.
All of it.
Now, guys, you guys had some, as far as groups and having some dynamic complications, you guys had some pretty vocal complications that other groups did not. And I think that comes because a lot of you guys are pretty outspoken, which is good, and you guys were able to work through some of those things. At times, some of you were a little rough on each other, and I think it made for not the most productive time in the classroom. Okay, and there were possibly points where there was one group working on one thing and one group working on another, and there wasn't necessarily good communication between two. That's something that
It was mainly outside of class.
just something I'd like to talk about. Then, overall, I think that your initial idea of colored flames was unique. It was really cool. You guys actually did get some, like, sparking red. I think red was the color that you guys actually got to work.
Yeah. We got a couple colors to work. Red was the color with strontium chloride. We used strontium chloride, and that was the color that really stuck.
Right, and that was really cool when it actually finally worked, even though it was just tiny little sparks.
Yeah,
but still pretty cool. Now, going back from there, what you actually ended up with was a colored scented tea candle, right? That you're selling 6.
It's not colored. The only reason why one of them is colored is because of the fragrance.
So not colored, but scented tea candle.
Yes.
And you're selling 6 for $6.25, right? $7.49. So a little more than $1 a piece.
Yes.
And I just did like a very quick Google search, and I can get 30 scented candles that are colored for $7.
From where?
Multiple places online.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So
can
I'm
I
I'm-
respond?
Yes, you can respond.
Okay, we did realize that the price was a little high, but when we talked to the people that we surveyed, almost all of them, I think it was like 80%, 75 to 80%, said they would buy our candle at $8.49, which is not even the lowest. This is the highest possible price we can sell it at. So I don't think we're going to have really a problem in terms of selling.
So
Were the candles that you looked at, were they paraffin or soy?
I
That's another thing.
didn't know.
Also, the reason we did tea candles initially was because that was the easiest way to get the chemicals to burn.
Mhm.
And then if we were just going for like scented candles, we probably wouldn't have done tea candles, I think. But that's all the materials we had. I think things just didn't really work out how we planned.
Yeah.
We're also selling a different image. You see, our packaging is very quaint. Wow, when you can get 30 candles for $5 or whatever it is, we actually bought one of those back there. It came in a plastic bag, and all of the candles were.
Oh my gosh, a plastic bag.
It's bad. Plastic bag, great, 30 candles, but they're shoved in there. Okay, that's not a good image. Okay, you don't. The people that we're marketing to would much rather, through the surveys we found, buy something that looks as nice as this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, as an investor, if you can find a way to sell something to somebody for a lot more just by packaging it differently and hitting that market, then I'm all about that. My question for you guys is, how are you actually going to make that happen? You defined your market as, what was it, young?
20 to 30.
20 to 30
Yeah,
year-old
mid-30s.
men? Okay.
No, men and women.
Men and women, okay. So like, my question to you is, where are you actually trying to sell this? What is your actual market? And how are you making sure that you are not directly competing with folks that, you don't want to be sitting, you don't want to have your candles in your bag, 6 for $7, sitting next to another bag that, while it's not made of soy, is 30 for $5, right? So how are you making sure that you're not competing directly with them?
You can go ahead. The way that I think we can all ensure is that it's because the likelihood of the candles that you saw in most candles where tea candles where it's like 50 for $5 or 30 for $5, the likelihood of those being locally owned small businesses in Seattle is very small. So where we sell, which is local businesses, we're more likely to not be put next to a product where it's 30 candles for $5. Now, if it is a local brand that is selling it for that much, then we can find different ways to make our product stand out, but the likelihood of us being, our product being next to a product that sells bulk candles for small prices is less likely.
So David, what are these local businesses? Like where, how are you gonna get this?
So you would probably just get them to like Madison Park or just like, you know, small places, small shopping centers, small plazas where a lot more of these exist. Probably try to stay away from the bigger chain stores.
Sarah?
So we're selling them at like independent art shops and not like candle shops specifically because, and we're not really marketing like to the candle community, I guess. We're marketing to like kind of like artsy, like people who care about like the environment and stuff. And we're also going to have a small Etsy shop where there won't be any other competitors because it's just our shop.
So if we're thinking about like Capitol Hill where there's that kind of stuff everywhere, do you guys go out and look at any specific stores? You're like, hey, we can corner the market here.
Yeah, Cairo and Indian Summer, and then there are more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Okay.
A good example for a store similar, that could be similar to ours, is if you go down 12th a little ways, they're the extremely small flower shop. If you go inside, they maybe have 20 different flowers you could buy, similar to that type of store. You know, small,
Okay.
easy to maintain.
The rest of you guys should start throwing questions out there. Sorry, I kind of took the floor a bit.
I'm not saying anything.
So on the back of the packaging, it says that it's carbon neutral. What does that mean, and how are you going to do that?
It
Well,
already is.
it is, yeah. It's,
Okay.
okay. So soy, when it's being made, as we found out, it goes through a process of photosynthesis, which means that it takes in carbon dioxide, and when it's being burned off, like all combustion reactions, it gives off carbon dioxide as well. But the way that it differs from things like fossil fuels is that fossil fuels takes a long time to become its final product, and then when it's burned, it gives off carbon dioxide. So it doesn't take in carbon dioxide, it just gives off. Soy wax takes in carbon dioxide and gives off, which essentially that's the neutral part. It doesn't give off any carbon emissions that it didn't already take in. So I guess the way to say this is like it doesn't give off any more carbon
It's like
dioxide.
recycling.
How is soy wax made?
Where does,
It's like the soy itself is grown, and then I'm not sure of the process of how it gets to the
Is it all done by hand?
so,
I would
Like,
assume it's
sandwich.
done I would assume that it's done like a bit larger than by hand.
So is there a machine involved?
There might be.
What
I don't
powers
know
that?
because I've never been to a soy manufacturer.
What do you think powers that machine?
Most likely a fossil fuel of some sort.
Okay.
Hydroelectric.
Where is soy grown?
Say what?
Where is soy grown?
I think it's grown a lot of places.
Mostly where?
South America.
South America. How does it get here from South
Most
America?
likely goes on a boat.
Is soy really carbon neutral?
Yes, the soy itself is carbon neutral. The way it gets here
Is
might
the
not be
soy
carbon
wax
neutral.
in the process that you're using it really
Not
carbon neutral?
in the process.
Process
Well, the process we're using is burning the candle. So yes.
How about beeswax that was made here?
Beeswax had a really strange color, and it was a lot more expensive. I mean,
My point
if
is
you as
just-
an
my point
investor
is just
want
that
to lead us down
soy
that
is-
path, then we'll go down
because
that
it
Guys,
should be
guys,
prevention.
guys.
number one, I'm not going to invest in you because you're not listening to any of the feedback that you're getting. Like you don't want to hear, you don't want to be improved right now. Like, and that's if this is me getting in your face, I'm sorry, but like the whole point of this is for us to give you constructive feedback and for you to say, yeah, we get where you're coming from. Here's a response to that, right? What I'm getting right now is, no, you know what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everything that we're saying is designed to take what you've done so far and get it to the next step.
Okay,
And
let's try
so
this
what
again.
you got to do is say, okay, I'm going to let you kind of get to where you're going, because otherwise we're going to escalate. Like I'm just going to go further and you're going to go further. Okay? So here's my final point with respect to this. The way that the soy wax, to kind of tag on what Samantha is saying, the way that the soy wax kind of works, there's a lot that's deeper in there. And if you want to market this as eco-friendly, you got to do a little bit more work in terms of what that really means. For me, the bee wax would be a better approach in terms of that avenue of marketing. That's my point.
Yeah, we understand that.
And I cut off Sam.
In the future, we could work towards maybe producing our candles and the wax that are made in our candles more locally, and that can help improve the carbon emissions given off by not only, because there's none that's neutral when actually burning the candle, but by creating the candle, it may be giving off some. We could work to reduce that by producing more locally. That is in the future.
We definitely need to do more research.
And I cut off Sam, so you
No,
get back to
it's
it.
okay, I was just gonna ask about how the soybeans have.
Okay, did the colored flame at all conflict with like the eco-friendly market?
We
Because
actually-
like, it seems like you're burning chemicals
Yeah,
to make that
yeah.
flame
But
colored,
in the
and
process,
then it's kind of like, I can't really imagine like a natural, like homegrown candle with like a purple flame. It just doesn't really.
We didn't start being eco-friendly, honestly, though we kind of changed it because we didn't want to just be tea candles.
But you said in the future you might also use colored flames. So how
Yeah, and that is in the future. That's a great point. We could work towards the confluence of the colored flames as well as the eco-friendly by maybe discovering different chemicals we could use that are more eco-friendly. So try to combine those two. And that could also be another very good selling point.
So, how many locations do you plan on selling your product in? Like, how many stores?
To my knowledge, we don't have any specific number.
Well, it depends on, I mentioned that the cost to start this company would be $1,500. That was enough to get us in maybe a couple stores just in the Seattle area. We probably expect to be in a lot of other locations within 6 months, and maybe possibly a lot of other cities within 14 to 18 months.
So this is about, you guys said that you used chemicals to make the candles, like the flame turn different colors. Are you sure that those emissions are like safe to be consuming?
No, through the process, probably one of the coolest. Yeah, that was immediately. Most people said, "Wait, how do we know we're not breathing in bad things?" But we made sure that while we were testing what chemicals made which flames, we also made sure that we weren't inhaling things that would be bad. That was one of the large. How did you do that? Through the on the chemicals that we use in the back, it has a list of things that you can't do with it. Like it shouldn't come in contact with skin. It shouldn't be inhaled in any like gaseous state. So yeah, we chose chemicals that didn't have any of those warning labels.
And in fact, we actually, one of the chemicals tested in that first experiment was calcium chloride. It was copper sulfate. Yes. Which burned a really cool flame and actually worked a lot better than anything else we had. But it said like may be dangerous to inhale, and we did some research on that, and it turns out it may be dangerous to inhale. So we were like, having a cool looking flame just like isn't worth like actual potential like health safety risks. So we did put an emphasis on that.
So following up on that, like I understand you guys read bottles, you're looking at that, I get it, and that's good. My thought, even as a chemist, I'm sitting here and thinking, okay, there's that chemical in there, it's burning, it's just electrons jumping up and down. We get why it's giving off a certain color, right?
Yeah.
But if it's not going into the air and we're not inhaling it, where is it going and what is, it's either going to be in a candle, it's going to be disposed later, like thrown away, and then either get into our water system or something like that, or it's going into the air. It's got to go somewhere, right? So I'm not saying that you guys need to know where it is, but my question to you is, what would be your next step in trying to figure out if you want to go in the colored candle direction? How would you guys be able to test, or what would your steps be to ensure that it is safe?
In the furthering of our company, we could possibly hire a chemist, because none of us are experts on that, so it wouldn't actually be safe.
Like me?
Like Martin,
I'll be pretty
for
expensive
example.
though. I don't know if you guys can
I
afford
know,
me.
I know.
Well, maybe it's,
You're also
we'll
me.
pay you in paper bags.
None
We have a lot of those.
none of us are experts none of us are chemists or experts in chemistry. We don't have a PhD or anything of that sort, so it wouldn't actually be safe for us to do the research or to evaluate that properly. So we could hire somebody who is an expert on that, you for example, and that could help us make sure that it's safe and make sure that we are still remaining eco-friendly.
Did you buy, like metal tins for the candles, or did you take them from other candles that you had already bought?
We couldn't find metal tins to buy, so.
You couldn't, yeah, you had to like buy like huge amounts of them, like sold the companies, so since we're only making a few, we just took them. But if we're actually
I
like
mean, we bought
producing the
the
products,
We didn't.
On a larger scale, we would find a way to buy the tins like on their own, but through this project, we had to buy, yeah.
Okay, that was a very disjointed answer. What I would like to say is that, yes, as they said, tins that we could buy came in bulk, and we weren't sure that we were actually gonna, wind up making them. This is like a pitch to investors. If people don't invest, then why would we have a million candles? We don't plan on selling the prototypes that we've created. We don't plan on selling these exact ones. So if you guys choose to invest, which I recommend you do, we would be able to buy tins in bulk because we know that we would be able to, we would know how many we're supposed to create and how many we're going to create, and then that would be a better approach.
Why'd you guys do an open flame? Isn't that kind of dangerous, like, depending on where the person puts the candle? Couldn't you set your house on fire on instance, like?
No, in our survey, the last question, which I laughed the most at, was, "Are you afraid of fire?" And a large majority said yes. Martin said yes. He did. And one of the things that we understand is that while it is an open flame, and one of our market ideas was that one of our early ideas about while we were brainstorming was a candle that when it's burned, all of the wax just pours down and forms another candle. So in that way, the flame itself would be sealed. But we also understand that most candles are open flame, and it would be better to be open flame because part of the burning process you need oxygen. So if it's an open flame, you'll have more oxygen, which means it will burn better.
generally tea candles also, people buy glasses to put them in too. Most people don't just burn it straight on the table or something.
But the glass is kind of like protecting from some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I missed you guys saying this, but do you buy each like individual wick?
It's the same as the tin answer. We couldn't buy them in bulk, but in the future we would.
They all came in the same package when we purchased. As Nate said, the big plastic bag with 30 candles. We got the molds from that and the wicks just to use for our prototypes. But as we further our business, that's when we'd actually start to develop or purchase bulk products as independent molds and wicks.
So you have 30 right now, like possibly.
I don't know how many we have left. I can look at them.
Yeah, we
Would you like me to tell you about it?
Guys, is there a, do you want to respond here real quick? Because I just have a follow-up question on what you said.
Yeah. I also will say, just to clarify, on the financial section, the cost to produce, to manufacture each candle, I use the price of the tins and wicks that we would be buying in bulk, not the ones that we use for candles. So just to clarify that.
Is there a problem with, you guys went out and you, I mean, even for your prototype to start with, you bought a bag of tea candles. You got rid of the wax, you kept the wicks and their holders, and now you're reselling them.
No, we're not. We're not. We're trying to opt
Okay.
to investors on whether they think this is a good idea so that we can develop this on our own.
So did you look into how much actually buying or stamping the little aluminum things and getting the wicks? And you look into how much that costs and how you're going to do that?
We didn't look into the cost of manufacturing them, we looked into the cost of buying them individually in bulk from like suppliers.
Okay.
And that's
And you
the
were able
price
to
I
find that?
used.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the price that we used.
Sorry.
That's okay. So I'm really impressed by the breadth of ideas here and also the amount of research that's gone into the different ideas. Like, I think that's really cool. What I'm kind of seeing is maybe a snapshot in the middle of a longer process that would lead towards something. And so I want to explore that for a second. So this is going to sound negative, but it's not. Because what I'm hearing right now is spherical, teacup, different scents, colored flame, retro bag, eco-friendly. And then I also heard Martin say that there were some group dynamic sort of issues in here. So I guess my question would be, because I think an investment pitch is stronger if it's I had to write a paper my first year in college, and it was so hard because it was 500 words. And it was so hard. It was the hardest thing I ever have had to do because he was so hard. So kind of coming up with a gem rather than like a treasure trove is much, much harder. So if I had asked you individually, what is the nugget here that you would take in terms of both the science that you've done and also the market? Because the other thing that's in here is the HIP 20 through 30s is just an enormous market. Like, it's huge. So if I had to ask you each individually, what is the best nugget of what you've done in the science, and who would you target it towards? What would you say?
I think as we were doing our brainstorming, and actually with the group dynamics, one of the issues we had was conflicting ideas. We later used that to expand the brainstorming throughout all of our minds, and we used that to our advantage. And during the brainstorming, every idea we came up with would, at some point, somebody would be opposed to it until the colored flame, and everybody was in agreement with that product. And we spent a lot of effort and time into trying to produce that, and it didn't quite turn out. So we had to shift gears and turn to something else in terms of the time frame and the financials that we had. Now, if we were to continue this product...
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Can we go down? Would you agree with that, Julian? Is that, Sarah, you too?
Yeah, I think.
Is there anybody that doesn't agree with that? Okay.
So, if we were to continue down this path of creating candles and selling them, I guarantee we would try our best to return to the colored flames, and that is the gem that we all think is the best.
Sean, as an investor looking, would you prefer a presentation that says this is our idea and what we've done, and then nix the rest? Where would they go with that?
Either way, actually, I was just thinking, you'd be the kind of company, perfect kind of company to go in and buy, or take over. Get rid of, what you need is a leader. No, really, what you need is a leader. You got a lot of great ideas. The candle flame thing, first thing when that came up, when you started out, I thought, oh, this is great. This is great differentiation. Never heard that before. Because trying to do a candle is like trying to sell water. I mean, how do you make it different? But all of the ideas and stuff, you guys could have said, okay, and you actually did this, we can make $188 a month. You could have said, we can take that profit and start developing the flame candle or the colored candle idea, and we would need some help to do that. You should have actually brought the colored flame candle here and shown how that actually works. Even if you, well, whatever, you should have tried to get that here. All these problems and stuff are just, investor looks for people that can solve problems. And describing the problems that you have and how you're going to overcome them would have been a great selling point to an investor. But just having problems and not really having solutions doesn't do me any good. A big problem I had, immediately just said, I would never put money in these guys, was when you said something about the labor issue. You're paying minimum wage, you probably have to bring that number down because you're not making enough money. Then you're showing me you're making a profit. I'm thinking, doesn't care about his people. The other thing, the big thing about this is, if you guys, this is really a startup, you could have said, I don't know if you ever heard the term sweat equity. It's where your work is the equity or the capital in the company. There's money and then there's your work. You would work for free to show the investor that you believe in it so much that you're willing to take that risk with your own time, energy, and stuff to make this product and move forward, not just working on an hourly wage type of a thing. So there's a huge potential that you can express the problems and how you're gonna overcome it. That's a huge, huge deal for an investor. They want people who can solve problems, because life is, every day is a problem.
I think it was that for the first 6 months or year that we would be losing money until then, is that right?
You know, you should be making it.
Yeah, no, we would be making it at assuming we would sell the amount of candles that we estimated to sell. The problem was we didn't feel that we would be making enough enough money to like expand and do. We didn't feel that the money that we would be making solely on the candle would provide enough money for us to develop our other ideas.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to make sure, and as I should have put more of an emphasis on this. I meant when I said that we would be downsizing the company, I meant temporarily, and I just like basically what I had in mind was like a couple people working for like a wage, and then a couple people like free to explore other ideas or free to help out on this for like a month or maybe 2, and then we would bring everyone back and maybe start expanding and hiring more people like a chemist.
I'll give you one. I've had this experience before. When guys make a presentation, they tell me one thing, I make a question, and then I get a different answer. It's immediately against me. It's like, okay, this isn't the guy. These aren't the guys I want to deal with. Because what I really want is a consistent answer throughout the presentation and when I'm talking to them. So to me, I understand the answer, but it's like it isn't consistent with what you said in your presentation.
What did I miss? I
understand the explanation, but it's not consistent with the how you presented it.
I'm going to wrap us up here because we have another group that needs to go. I need to wrap us up. Okay. Overall, I think that Sean, you did a really good job of just kind of pointing out some huge benefits to your company and what could be great about it, and then also pointing out some of the things that are kind of concerns for an investor. And one thing that I would really like to recommend to you guys and to others, you guys are going to be doing projects in American Studies next year. You guys are going to be doing products and innovations, and you're going to be talking to people, and you're going to be actually standing up there, not just defending your work and what you put into it, but actually standing up there and trying to listen and take good points. So like, I hear what you're saying. I think what you're saying is this. Like, that's a really good point. We didn't think about that. I think that's a direction that we should go. Or like, you guys need to hear hear the feedback that you're getting, and think of this not as, hey, you spent 4 weeks and you're going to be up here and you have to try and defend yourself and the work that you've done those 4 weeks. It's that you've spent 4 weeks doing something, and now you're kind of giving a presentation so that you're filling us in, and now we're all together in it. Now we're going to try and move forward. Okay, so when you guys get to the point that you're either doing another project or you're actually starting a company of your own or whatever, you need to learn to take that feedback and involve that person into it. You've got somebody like Sean here right now who's like, he's on the edge of like pretty much saying, hey, you are a company that I could totally invest in. And then going right back to the same spot of kind of defending yourself. And he's like, oh, nope, I'm done, I'm out. Like, it can be a split decision between like somebody's willing to give you $1 million to start up a company, and you say one wrong thing and they're done, right? Because it's a big risk on their part. So just a little bit of feedback there. Overall, thank you guys, and let's take just like 2 or 3 minutes, and we'll get set up for the next group.